Hey guys, if you're struggling with your online dating profiles, especially your photos because you're just not capturing great photos of yourself, and you'd like to learn how to turn photos that look like this into photos that look like this, then you'd better keep watching today because I'm going to dive into FaceApp, which is a face editing app for online dating profiles right now. I'm going to see what kind of results I can get. Now, as a photographer and long-term Photoshop and Lightroom user, I've really resisted jumping into any of the photo editing apps for a number of reasons, but mostly because I'm a bit of a snob and I'm like, well, I can do everything manual and I can do it well, and this is a really great value add that I can give to my clients. But I've got to admit that the last week I've been playing with FaceApp for myself and my clients, and I got to say that I am really impressed with the results. So I'm going to jump in. I'm going to show you guys a little bit about what the app, I'm going to show you what the app can do, and then I'm going to show you some very real examples of photos that I've changed and the difference in attractiveness of those photos as rated by women. So the very first thing I'm going to do is show you inside the app. Okay guys, this is inside the app right now. The first thing you want to do is, this is your gallery. I've just downloaded a bunch of sample photos really that I might be able to use. So the very first thing that you do is you can grab a photo of a guy, of yourself, right? And it will load up the photo and you'll have a whole bunch of options. By the way, none of these guys are real. I went to thispersondoesnotexist.com to get fake photos. So none of these are real guys that I'm exposing to the world. And you can do a whole bunch of things with them. So you can change sort of how they, it's called Hollywood, which is kind of like a face filter. And you can see it before and after by clicking this button. And some of these filters are more extreme than others. And you can select here on a scale of 1 to 5 how extreme that filter is. So this is a 5 on that filter, and you can see how much that's changed his face, right? You can see it's the same guy, but it looks a lot more masculine in the second one than the first one, right? So you can see how each of those filters works. You can do things, you can change the skin, you can give him more of it. He doesn't really need a tan, but you can give him more of a tan. You can smooth his skin, you can unwrinkle the skin, you can get rid of the blemishes in the skin if you want to. Face, nose, you can sort of do things. You can give him bigger lips. I'll give him much bigger lips to demonstrate, right? I can go in here, let's see what else. I can increase the size of his eyes. This guy's eyes are already okay in size, but especially in photos where you're squinting a bit, you can't see your eyes very well. In this one, if I do that, it makes him look a little bit creepy, like a serial killer, so let's not do that. We can do more extreme things. We can change his hairstyle. So you could play with hairstyles, how different hairstyles look on me. You can see longer hair actually doesn't look bad. How would he look bald? How to look with bangs. So you can start to play with your hairstyles if you want. I don't do a lot with hairstyles. What I do a lot with more are things like facial hair. So how would you look with kind of the more hipster style beard, a little bit like what I've got? How would you look with a full beard? This isn't going to look for him. Yeah, it's not going to look good on him. What does a mustache look like, right? So we can look at all these different like looks, and most of these aren't really great. But now and again, it really helps to add facial hair to some of the guys. Alternatively, you can just remove facial hair. So if you've got a shot where you haven't shaved well, or a bit of like really crappy looking hair in your face, you can remove it completely, which is always good to be able to do. I don't need to do it out in this photo. You can change the age. Again, I don't use the age filter. Heck, if you really want, you can go ahead and make this guy look like a woman. I don't know why you'd want to do that with your photo, but I'd do her, even though she was originally a male. So there are a whole bunch of things you can do here. Makeup, you can add glasses. Again, it doesn't mean you're necessarily going to use all of these options, but it's really cool that they're there because we can do things like remove glasses, add glasses, go for different looks, try out different looks, see how they get rated by women on the existing profiles. But that's not what today's really all about. Now, before I show you some real world results of like actual photos that I've edited, and you can sort of have a look at how I go through changing them, I just want to say this is how you should be thinking about FaceApp, because I think you all should be using FaceApp. I've decided officially that you should all be using it. You're using FaceApp not to make yourself look like a version of you that you could never be, right? Don't do that, because you can use FaceApp. I mean, you can look like a woman if you want. You could make yourself look amazing, but nothing like how you actually look. That's not what it's for. Think of FaceApp as a way of taking what is a regular photo of you and make it look like the best version of yourself, right? This is the best I could look with good lighting. Maybe if I lost a few kilos, not a lot, just a few kilos. If I did my hair differently, or if this was a really good day and I was happy and I was smiling, because a lot of guys struggle to make genuine smiles, because we can add smiles to these photos, and I'll be showing you that on some of these profiles as well. We can add smiles. So for those profiles that you struggle to capture the perfect moment, you can create the perfect moment and make yourself look just that little bit better while still looking like you. And you'll be amazed at the results that you can get. So don't think of this as making yourself look not like yourself, because I don't want to do that. There's no point getting dates and have the women be disappointed. That doesn't help you. It doesn't help anyone. So you're not trying to accomplish that. So let me show you some of the profiles that I actually have edited, and we'll go through it together and you can see how I go about editing these photos. Okay, here we have this guy here, and I want to change his profile a little bit. So I'm just going to try a few different filters here. What I'm going to try to do is add a little bit of cheekbone, probably, which is a filter that I use quite a bit. And then what I'm going to do, and I do this, anyone with a rounder face, I try to give them a more pointed chin. And I find that really helps. So here we are, we're giving him that pointed chin, we're giving him that cheekbone. You can see just the before and after, what a difference that makes already to how he looks. It's subtle, it's still the same guy. And you can see there's very little else that we really need to do to make this guy look better. But I'm going to go in here to this setting here, and I'm just going to play with his hair with different, cropping his hair, because his hair was a little messy. But because he's going bald, I don't want to add hair he couldn't normally have. He's already looking like he's balding a little bit, so I don't want to mess with that, because he could never accomplish that. So instead, maybe what I'll do is I will have a think about maybe some of the more face processing here. Yeah, there we go. Now it's a little bit extreme. Let's back that off a little bit. How's that looking? Yeah, see, before and after. It's just subtle, but now he's looking more, just slightly more masculine somehow, more rugged, right? So this is the same guy, but it's a much more flattering look, and I can go ahead and save that, and you can see the before and after. It's a much more flattering look of the same guy. It's the same person, but this is a flattering version. And again, you can see that I've slightly changed the bone structure. I've slightly changed the weight, but now I've made it more flattering. And the trick is, you'll see with some of these I've made more extreme than others. Some of these are more, how can I say it? Some of these are more less like the actual guy. But the trick is, you've got to find the sweet spot for you, for how you can actually look, because you know how you look. I've had guys where in a bad photo they look awful, but in day-to-day life, like, they can look really good. If you can make that transition, then you can use the app to make that transition and make sure you look that way when you meet her. You know what the difference is, and you know when it doesn't really look like you. And if you're not sure, ask some female friends, right? Does this look too edited to not be like me, or does this look like the best version of me? Ask friends about it. So let's have a look at another profile. Okay, so let's have a look at this guy here. I'm just going to play around with, could I make his face a little smaller? I mean, he's not overweight, but I'm just playing. You can see here, seeing before and after. No, not quite. I'll add some cheekbones. This is the thing I commonly do, but he's already got decent cheekbones showing. So actually, I don't want to change that one so much either. Let me see. What else could I do here? Add some dimples. I mean, that looks okay. You know, I'm not super impressed by this. Okay, we can leave that how it is. Let's see. I think impression is probably going to work best for this guy, because he's already decently good looking. I don't want to change a lot of his features. See, if I add passion. Let's see, before and after. That's not too bad. Let's have a look at movie. So you got to sometimes play around with these a little bit just to see what's going to look best. That does look better. Charm's one of my favorite that I use quite a bit. Again, depending on what the photo's like, your skin complexion, your face structure, really depends on which of these looks best. And sometimes they look too extreme. On him, none of these look too extreme. I like that one the best. I like passion. Passion looks really good on him. So that adds like a more masculine edge to him. Passion I usually don't like, but for whatever reason, his complexion and his face shape, whatever it is, Passion's looking really good. So there you go. We've got a before and after. It's the same guy. And I haven't changed much, but it's just a more attractive photo considerably. And this is one of the more subtle changes that I could do. Okay, so this guy here is someone with a longer face, softer features. How can we make him look? And I really had to think about this one, right? Like, what can I do here? But add some cheekbones. And the problem with adding cheekbones, because his face was already so skinny, when I add cheekbones, you can see that I got to be a little bit careful here, because then he can look too gaunt by adding those cheekbones too much. I thought, can I add dimples? That doesn't look too bad. That gives him, it masculinizes his face just a little bit, just a smidgen. So that's not too bad. Let me just play with how much I want to do that. Again, you don't want to overemphasize the effect. You want to make it look good, but not overdone, you see. And that's part of the skill here. And I got to admit, I'm not an expert here. I'm getting better and better all the time, because been working on profiles for a week. Here we go. I just increase the size of his lips slightly, make them a little bit more pouty. Don't want to change the size of his eyes. Maybe shrink his nose. No, that's not looking good. No. I mean, sort of increasing the size of his nose, but that doesn't really work on his face. It's not a necessary step. We'll go back to the lips, I think, and we can link them to that little button towards the left. I could link two things together, but we don't need to here. I think facial hair would really stop this baby faceness that he's got going. See, look at that. That looks so much better here. I really like that. That is just like, this guy grew facial hair. Look how much difference that makes. And I know I've done a couple other things with the cheekbones, but not much. And that makes so much difference. That's how I want to show myself. But also, you're going to see from the ratings that this guy gets before and after, how women find him attractive. It's a whopping difference just from growing facial hair for this particular guy. So that's a thing that if I were him, I would seriously consider and use that photo, because that for me got the best results, like really staggering results. By the way, guys, are you finding this interesting? Because I found this so fascinating. If you are, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Most of you guys watching aren't subscribed. So if you subscribe, that helps me out a ton. Now here we have a guy who's got a rounder face. Is a bit, not chubby is maybe a mean word. He's just got a rounder face. And so what I want to do is I want to try and see if we can give him some cheekbones. Sharp chin is something I often use for people with yeah. Now the thing is, I don't want to overdo it. I could go to 4, and make him look even like sharper, like lose weight. It's like he's lost a little bit of weight here. Sharp chin is one I use for a lot of rounder faces, but you got to be careful not to overdo it, because then you can quickly look. I'm just going to do 2 because I don't want to make this too extreme. It's very easy to go overboard with these photos. I'll just leave it at 2. And yeah, let's do that. And then can we give him a smile? This is the other great thing. I can sort of change the different types of smiles here. Got to be careful he doesn't look like a serial killer with the smile. It's hard because I'm going to do other changes down the line too. So I just got to fiddle with what type of smile is going to look good. And again, see, we can add it doesn't, again, sometimes the smiles look great, sometimes they don't. It's really, really, really hard to know sometimes on these how you want. I'm going to go with tight, I think. Now, how else could I change him? I mean, I don't know if beard's going to work as well on him. I don't know if it's going to quite hit the mark. I think that looks nice. He could do that, right? Clearly, this guy would look better with a beard. You can see that, but I've done that already, so I'm going to go with something different. Pablo Escobar. Yeah, no, none of these are working. I mean, I think that the hipster works okay on him, actually, and that would be definitely a thing that I would consider doing. But I'm not going to do it for now because I want to try something different with this one. So we'll leave that like that, and I'm going to maybe... let's have a look if changing the lips, giving them a little bit more filler, that can be nice. And again, you've got to be careful. Filling out lips can make you look too baby-faced, and this guy's already baby-faced, so I'm just a little cautious. But I'm going to come in here, and this is kind of to be a more masculinizing feature. Yeah, that looks... Yeah, passion looks good on him, and I don't want to overdo it. See, if I overdo it, it looks too much not like him. But see, it makes him look a little bit more dangerous, but in a good way, right? A little bit more... He's squinting a little bit more. He's not looking quite as friendly. Yeah, before and after. Look at that. It's the same guy, right? But the thing is that now he looks like a better... This is like someone's taught him how to pose to the photo. You know? That makes a massive difference just from that photo. So yeah, as I'm talking now, what I'm going to do is I will show you some other before and afters that I've done with some of the other guys. Again, all fake profiles, no real people. So I'm not invading anyone's privacy, but really just using these to show you how you can increase the attractiveness. And really this is important because on online dating, your rank is everything. And it's getting into a higher percentage really makes a big difference. You know, the difference between an 8 and a 9 on PhotoFeeler, for example. And PhotoFeeler isn't perfect, but it's a good starting point. Just edging up your attractiveness can make a whopping difference. It can suddenly get you into a higher bracket of women that you're meeting. And so if you're able to do that with the photos you've got, and I know, I mean, the guys that I coach, because guys, look, I do Zoom coaching. I help guys build out really amazing profiles. And if that's something that you want, by the way, click on the link down there. I've got an online course that you can do where I show you exactly what to do, or I can do it with you in a Zoom call. I'll put both links below. I highly recommend you consider that if you really want to get the highest possible results on your online dating. And I'll tell you, when I'm working with guys on their photos, 9 out of 10 times with guys, they don't have good photos. They have photos of themselves where they're not looking happy. The smile feels forced or not what we call a Duchenne smile. It's fake. They're not necessarily very photogenic. Some people just aren't photogenic. It doesn't mean you're ugly. That's not a euphemism for you got a face for radio. But really, it just means that for whatever reason, when a camera captures a still of your face, it's rarely an attractive image that it's taking. And it's weird. Like, some people just are very photogenic and some people aren't. And some people really have practice, like Instagram girls taking all these shots. Some people don't. But if you're not, and most people aren't, and don't have access to great photos and don't have access to a photographer, this is a really great way to do it. Just don't overcook it. Be careful that you don't make these, the examples that I've got here, some of them more extreme than others. And you can certainly go very extreme if you want to, and I don't think so. I think the art isn't making a subtle improvement, that this is a more masculinized or nicer or more handsome version of you that still looks completely like you. So I highly recommend that you go ahead and check that out. It's called FaceApp. It's like a few bucks every month, and it's so worth it. You can do as many photos as you like, and I've been having an absolute blast with it, and I'm going to be using it with all of my clients. So again, guys, if you want to become one of my clients and really get my personal help with this, go ahead and click the link below. But if you don't and you're using online dating, get FaceApp. I'm not making any money for this video. I'm not getting paid for it, nothing like that. I've literally just discovered, I'm using this with absolutely everyone. So guys, as always, if you've enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I look forward to seeing you in my future videos.